Welcome to this comprehensive analysis of UPSC General Studies Paper 1. This video is a deep analysis of 80 questions from 2020 to 2024, and the findings reveal shifts and patterns on how this paper evaluates candidates. I have mentioned the PDF link of the last 5 years GS-1 paper in the description and comment box. You can refer to it as well. So, now let us begin our analysis. While everyone knows GS-1 covers Indian heritage, history, society, and geography, what you need to know are the hidden shifts and patterns that determine success in this paper. These patterns show that the syllabus remains constant, but the cognitive demands have evolved dramatically. Today, I will share critical insights that successful candidates intuitively understand, and you must also understand these insights to score well in GS-1 and build your main score. Pattern 1. The synthesis trap. This analysis of last 5 years of GS-1 papers have revealed 3 kinds of patterns. We will discuss all 3 patterns in details with examples and strategies. So now let us come back to the first pattern, synthesis trap, and observe it in detail. UPSC now consistently asks questions that appear to test one area, but actually require integration across multiple subtopics. Consider this 2020 GS-1 question. Persian literary sources of medieval India reflect the spirit of the age. Comment. Most aspirants approach this as a medieval history question. However, this question actually tests: first, literary analysis skills; second, cultural synthesis understanding; third, historical methodology; and fourth, comparative civilizational studies. If you would like to understand how these 4 concepts are related to the question, then let us have a look at them. This will give you an idea of how to treat these 4 concepts while answering this question. In literary analysis skills, you need to explore literary style metaphors of famous Indo-Persian literature, like Akbarnama or Tarikh-e-Firoz Shahi. In cultural synthesis understanding, you need to analyze how the Persian literature you are referring to in your answer is blend of different traditions. In historical methodology, use Persian sources to describe the cultural and social practices of the time period it refers to. In comparative civilizational studies, you can highlight similarities between Sanskrit or Indian languages with Arabic or Persian and how these cultures influenced each other. Similarly, consider this 2023 GS-1 question. Indian philosophy and tradition played a significant role in conceiving and shaping the monuments and their art in India. Discuss. This requires connecting philosophical concepts, architectural techniques, religious symbolism, and cultural continuity. This is the trap in such kind of GS-1 questions seen over the last 5 years. You can master medieval history or ancient philosophy individually, but if you cannot synthesize across subtopics, your answer will be competent, but not exceptional. The winning approach to deal with such traps is to build bridges or linkages between topics, and not studying them in isolation. When you encounter any topic, immediately ask, what other areas does this connect to? The contemporary lens requirement. The second pattern is what I call as the contemporary lens requirement. This pattern simply means that historical question now requires a contemporary analytical framework. Take this 2021 GS-1 question for example. Evaluate the nature of the Bhakti literature and its contribution to Indian culture. Observe this fundamental shift of UPSC in testing your understanding. Traditional approach of the question would be, describe the Bhakti movement. Current approach of testing is, evaluate Bhakti literature's contribution to Indian culture. The traditional approach would have tested your memory. The current approach tests your analytical thinking of how Bhakti movement is relevant even today. You can give examples of Bhakti period saints or poets like Kabir, Tulsidas, Mirabai, Surdas and Namdev, who wrote in their mother tongue. These languages evolved into standardized modern Indian languages and are still recited, sung and studied. Also, you can include pointers like Bhakti saints used music and poetry as spiritual vehicles. And even today, Bhakti-inspired music like bhajans, abhangas, kirtans are integral to Indian spiritual and cultural events and to even Indian movies. And many more such pointers that you see in your contemporary, that is present time. That's why the name, contemporary lens, for such line of questions. On similar pattern of contemporary lens requirement, some more questions included. In 2023, a GS-1 question asked, Is marriage as a sacrament losing its value in modern India? In 2024, another GS-1 question asked, compare inter-caste and inter-religious marriages with reference to recent trends. These questions test whether you can apply historical concepts to contemporary analysis, not just recall historical facts, and also give present-day facts, for example like more women empowerment, better financial and education levels, and health parameters. Along with some negatives of today's times, with lack of community living and socialization due to gadgets and technology, leading to people becoming more socially isolated. You need to frame your arguments in a balanced way, keeping in mind trends and realities of present contemporary times. Most aspirants prepare ancient history as if it were archaeology, static and disconnected from present realities. But UPSC wants you to understand how ancient systems evolved into modern manifestations. For every historical topic you study, you must ask, how does this manifest in contemporary India? This single shift transforms answers from good to exceptional. The examiner's mindset has fundamentally changed from what do you know to how do you think. Third pattern, scale jumping. Let us now discuss the third pattern that I call as scale jumping in detail. By scale jumping pattern, I mean that the UPSC aspirant needs to seamlessly shift between multiple analytical scales within the same response to a GS-1 question. The last 5 years of GS-1 questions show the need for analysis across 4 levels. First, on local and specific implications. Second, on regional dynamics and politics. Third, on national policy considerations. Fourth, on global contexts and implications. Consider this GS-1 2020 question. Interlinking of rivers can provide solutions to droughts, floods, and navigation issues. Average answers discuss river interlinking mechanisms. To high score in such answers, you need to address it on the 4 scales. On local scale, mention the specific flood management in affected areas. On regional scale, interstate water politics and disputes. On national scale, agricultural policy and food security implications. On global scale, climate change adaptation strategies. Now consider this 2021 GS-1 question. Examine the role of gig economy in the process of empowerment of women in India. This question requires analysis on, first, on individual level, talking about personal economic independence. Second, on community level, talking about changing social dynamics. Third, on society level, talking about gender role evolution. Fourth, on policy level, talking about labor law and social security implications. The candidates who consistently score 15 on 15 in such questions are not necessarily the most knowledgeable, but they are those who can think across scales simultaneously, seeing both micro-level details and macro-level implications. Understanding the patterns we discussed earlier reveals a fundamental shift in UPSC's evaluation approach. This becomes clear when we examine how the traditional mindset of asking what do you know has evolved into how do you think approach in the UPSC Mains GS-1 paper. Traditional UPSC mindset, what do you know? Current UPSC mindset, how do you think? This transformation explains why some aspirants with encyclopedic knowledge struggle, while others with moderate knowledge but strong analytical skills score high in GS-1 Mains. To understand this shift better, consider these false obvious questions that perfectly illustrate the new approach. Take this GS-1 2023 question. Why is southwest monsoon called Purvaya in Bhojpur region? This appears geographical but actually requires understanding linguistic evolution and cultural adaptation. Similarly, another GS-1 2023 question, child cuddling being replaced by mobile phones, seems like social commentary, but actually needs developmental psychology insights to answer effectively. These examples demonstrate that if your preparation approach remains focused on information accumulation without analytical skill development, then you are not prepping up for today's UPSC exam. The UPSC syllabus boundaries remain fixed, but the intellectual territory within them has expanded dramatically. You need to gauge the intent of examiner in asking that question and do its critical and logical analysis when answering it. This means success now requires cognitive sophistication, not just comprehensive knowledge. Till now we discussed all the patterns and shifts in UPSC GS-1 paper. Let us now list the strategies and insights we found from our discussions. First strategy. First, abandon topic-by-topic isolation. Create connection maps for every major topic, identifying at least 3 other areas it relates to. This builds the synthesis capability that modern questions demand. Second strategy. Develop your contemporary anchor methodology. For every historical concept, identify its modern manifestation. Ancient trade routes connect to modern supply chains. Ancient gurukuls to modern universities. Third strategy. Practice scale shifting in your responses. Train yourself to move from individual implications to societal consequences to global contexts within the same answer. This addresses the multi-level analysis requirement. For example, higher girl-child education leads to women empowerment, that leads to higher female participation in workforce and economy. Fourth strategy. Change your question interpretation approach. Before writing any answer, ask yourself, what type of thinking does this question actually test? Many questions have hidden layers beneath apparent simplicity. That's it from my side. I hope you follow these patterns, insights, strategies, and score high in your GS-1 Mains exam. The collection of 5 years of GS-1 question papers link is in the description below. I will shortly release similar deep analysis for GS-2 and GS-3 Mains paper. Do share your feedback in the comments. Thanks for watching Boss Prep.